What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I went and used this on oil today. God, was I wrong. I was very wrong. I thought this was gonna be like one of those balls, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I put it down on the dry lanes the first time. The lanes were not oiled at all. They were bone dry. This thing was polished. You know, if you think about it, as soon as it touched down, it was on dry lanes. So it started burning up some of its energy. It was polished, so it had decent, I could get it out to the right. And it had a nice, strong, archy back end, but it wasn't anything crazy, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool. I sanded it down a bit last time, and it just became way too much. Sanded, dry lanes, just red instantly. Yeah, it was crazy. So I figured, okay, if we go back and put it on some oil now, it should be good, right? No, not even close. This thing was, I polished it again. I polished it, I brought it, and I was like, okay, if I need to scuff it, I'll just do it very lightly and do little tests at a time, and that's kind of what I did. See, it's not like perfectly polished. I did scuff it a little bit today. But this thing, on oil, it saved up every last drop until the last second and just drove, man. I've never seen a ball drive like this. This thing drove hard, but it's too hard. You could see it like went down the lane, it would start making its move, and it just went for it, man. Like, it just pushed. Yeah, and then I sanded it, and it was it's too much. It's too much ball for me. And then little hand changes made all the difference in the world. It would just go this way, that way, this way, that way. It's too much. Way too much. Let's check out a few shots anyway. So at some point I want to get a camera stand so I can bring the camera up high, because I notice, like, I see it when I'm bowling, and then I come back and look at the footage and it's like, where is it? Why does it not look right? I think, you know, being up high, looking down, you'd be able to see the turn better. I mean, I had right lane was better. It was much kinder today. I started off polished, and then, you know, it was turning hard in the back, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna cautiously, very cautiously, sand it down a little. I think, do you see the turn on that thing? Especially in the left lane, you can really see when it decides to turn, it just goes. And it drives, man. Look. Now that was a little deflect, but it drives hard. Like, when you're there in person, you see it, you're like, what? It is touchy, man. It's too touchy. Just a little tiny hand change, and yeah, it was all over the place. Like my bowling. You see that one? Wait, go back. Wait. Talk about turn. Whoa! Let me see that again. Yeah. And sometimes it would do that, and sometimes it wouldn't. It was like all how it came off my hand. Alrighty. I re-drilled it. Same polish. Just did a different layout. I want to see if I can get this thing to work at Boston Bowl. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I know there's been some other people that used, I used to bowl with a couple guys that had the gold Black Widow. It was like a pearl, and they killed with it. Like, but I might have to just accept the fact that I may not be able to use the Black Widow at Boston Bowl. I think this might be too much ball for me. But anyways, I went with a 6 3/4. I wanted to try something crazy. I wanted to see if you could do it. So I went with a 6 3/4 pin to pap. That's the entire prosect. By 6 3/4 PSA to PAP. By 5 inches up. So I wanted to drag the finger holes way down, go straight in the side of the core, hopefully raise the RG, and hopefully the ball would work. And also I checked, you know, Mr. Mo says for two-handers, the finger holes need to be drilled at least 3.5 inches deep to help stabilize the RG axis. So I measured, and I was only going 3 inches deep. So what I had to do is that drilling jig, the KMT jig, if you just chuck it like you're supposed to and drill, you're only going to get 3 inches. But I had to drill it, then pull the bit out of the chuck so that the drill was just grabbing the bit like that, and then send it. And I am now at 3 5/8 deep, so I'm a little over the minimum. So that's good. So let's go try it. All right, so changing the layout did do something. It made it slightly later, but this cover stock is so strong. It is so strong. And with the layout and the polish, it was late, but it was jerky. It was super jerky, man. Like, it would, I mean, you can see it a little bit on that shot. It's just, sometimes it would look round, and other times it would jerk. You know, it's like super touchy, like not good. And if I try to go with an earlier, see how jerky that is? Holy! If I go earlier with this, and like think it's gonna burn up some of its energy in the front, it's just gonna take off. This is too much ball for me for here. Like, I should just throw in the towel now. I was just like, no. I got one strike that whole time, and I had to like run to the line and loft it. And like throw it out to the right as hard as I could, and then by accident I got a strike. I'm like, oh. So I went back to the old Jolly Green Storm High Road Max. And even this was hooking nice today. Like, that's the thing. Like the Venom Shock Pearl, I can use it here in the wintertime, but in the summer, no way. No way. High Road Max. So I think I just came up with a really, really good idea for this. So, Mo Pinnell says that pin down, being early, is a myth, right? You gotta ask yourself, how does something become a myth? Like, so many people would have to have a pin down ball and see the same thing and say, oh, that's early. And then everyone starts saying it, and then now you got a myth, right? And I completely understand whatever Mo says is church, but I still want to see it with my own two eyes, and I want to like just test it. You know what I mean? Just who I am. And you know, I had a viewer come on and say, "Hey, pin down is not early. It's," and he sent me the link, which I've seen it, but when I tried pin downs, I saw it early, and I wasn't trying to say like you're wrong and I'm right, and we're gonna test it right now. We're gonna test it, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I'm just stating what I see. That's it. I hope you still watch my videos. That'd be a shame. I actually enjoyed the comment. You know, it gives me something to test out. You know what I mean? So what I'm thinking is I'll go and I'll repolish it just so it's fresh, same polish, and then we'll try the equivalent, because to me 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 by 5 inches up is like the lowest flaring, highest RG pin-up layout that you could stick on this ball. I don't know, I could be wrong. Let me know if I am. But this just seems like, you know, one extreme, and it definitely showed. Like it was a little longer than the first time I tried it, but it was too much. I was struggling to get this into the pocket. This cover stock is so strong. So I had to like run to the line and loft it and throw it out to the right as hard as I could, and I got a strike once by accident. So if pin down is in fact longer to transition, I should be able to at least get this into the pocket, at least. Or it should be easier for me to get this into the pocket, not harder for me to get this into the pocket. That's what I see. I don't know. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But I don't know. I think that would be a good test, don't you? So I'm going to make a quick prediction. I might be wrong. I might be wrong on the pin down thing. Just like, I was like editing the video and I like watched the first time I went bowling with layout A, then the second time with layout B, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a second. The first time I went, I had like a, I believe it was like a 6 1/8 by 6 1/8 by like 2 or 3 inches up, right? It was strong. It was really strong, but I was able to get it into the pocket for a little while, and I did get a few strikes with it. You know what I mean? And then, and I don't know if it's drilling everything like a pearl. That could be part of it too, but I know every ball has its own characteristics and you have to drill accordingly. And like I was just starting to get used to pearls, and now we're into solids, and it's like a whole nother ball game. You know what I mean? So I figured, okay, well, if we do a higher RG layout, it should give me more length, and it looked like it did. But you gotta remember, it's a solid. So when it got to the back of the lane where it was dry, man, the thing just gripped like a wide tire on a streetcar, man. And it was like, just took off. So it might have been later, but it picked up sooner, if that makes sense, and went for it. Like it had more energy right from where it hit the dry versus layout A. You know, it had a little more flare, so it had a little more grab in the front, burnt up some of its energy, and then when it got to the dry, it didn't have as much left, and had a more rounder shape, and I was able to get into the pocket. So the whole pin down thing, right? If in fact that's why it makes it longer to transition, because it's, you know, it's not a short pin, you know, dropping the pin on its side or the core on its side. You're drilling into the top of the core. It's a pin down, so it might be somewhat, and this is why people think, maybe that's why people think it's earlier, because it picks up nice and early. It burns up some of its energy. but then it's later because it doesn't have that much left in the back, and maybe I'll be able to get it into the pocket. But we'll see. You know, that's why I'm doing this. I'm not claiming to be right. I'm just sharing my experience. That's it. So, anyways, that's it for this one. Make sure you subscribe. Oh, it's right here. I always do that. I have no idea why I do that. I always point over here, over there, over here. Give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.